Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. This is Skos FLS. So, in the last video, we finished up painting this bad boy. Got that all done. So, in this one, what we're going to be doing is we'll be installing the Sikky engine mounts to the engine, and then onto the subframe, we'll be putting the other part of the engine mounts. So that way when we go to drop the engine on it, they'll two mate together so that everything lines up. So, I'll be showing you guys how to do that because I know with my kit, I didn't get a whole lot of instructions with how to install it. It came with a bunch of washers and all that stuff. So I dissected their videos, kind of tried to notice the small intricacies that would show you the difference. And I'll go through that in this one. So let's get started. All right, so the beautiful thing about this Siki kit is it comes with pretty much everything you need. So this is just one half of the engine mount. So it comes with the center spacer for the bushing, one half of the polyurethane bushing, a bolt with 2 washers, grease for your bushings, second half of the bushing, and then obviously the billet bracket. This guy out. So here's what the engine mount would look like. They label them left versus right, so that makes it a lot easier on you, and this guy would obviously slide in here like that. So obviously when you go to put bushings in, with it being polyurethane, if you don't grease them up, they'll start squeaking, make a lot of noises, and give you a lot of NVH, noise, vibration, and harshness. So first step is to open up the grease. There's a lot in this tube and they give you 1 per side, so I'm just kind of, giving it a lot of grease here. The Sikky grease is sticky, which is a good thing because that means if there's ever any, obviously since it's going to be exposed to the elements being the engine mounts, there's going to be water and grease, oil, and road grime, all that stuff will get on there. So that means the stuff will be fairly resistant to that, which is a good thing, which means it'll last on here and you don't have to consistently re-grease these things. So I'm just kind of doing a lot deliberately, and then I'm going to go back over and wipe it with the gloves. So you want to do both the outside and then the inside as well. And they give you a lot in this little tube, so don't feel like you have to try and save every little bit. Feel free to go a little crazy. Another thing too is you want to do the outside of this guy too, because this slides in the middle of the bushings. And the other thing you can do too, if you have some extra left over, like obviously you will, put some on the inside of this, since the bushings will ride in this as well. So I'm just gonna take my gloves and kind of wipe it around, spread it, make sure it's properly lubed up. Same thing with the inside. Now that we got our grease properly spread around, go ahead and slide this guy on in. It's kind of a tight fit. Same with this side. This guy right down the middle. And the lube also helps you so it's easy to install, because some of this, obviously you can see I'm pressing pretty hard. It's a tight fit. So a lot of excess grease. Grab me a paper towel. I'm just gonna wipe off the excess. So that one's done. All right, so the Sikky kit does come with bolts for this as well. So there'll be one package that has 4 bolts, 4 washers, indicating that it's for the mount because there's 2 mount holes. Now the one thing that it's not clear is you can see there's a small side, a big side, and the holes are offset, meaning you could essentially put this on the wrong way and the location would be off a little bit. Now that wouldn't necessarily be the end of the world, because they would just change where the engine is mounted within the vehicle, so it might end up making it either too far forward or too far back. So if you have this problem and you're running into clearance issues on the firewall side, this may be your problem. But like I said, I watched their video multiple times to try and figure out if there's a way that I could physically see if, you know, there's some sort of indication from their install videos when they're developing the kit to show the orientation, whether you can see the front side or the big side or the small side being towards the front of the vehicle or the rear. Now with my subframe being out, you can see the front control arms, sway bar, and the rack. So the rack is at the back of the car, control arms at the front. So after watching their video, based off of my analysis, the big side faces towards the front of the car. So you want this side to essentially go on like that. So that would be the holes that are offset being towards the rear of the car. So let's go ahead and get this guy mounted. Alright guys, so here is the Sikky motor mount. So when you get these, they have a sticker on here that's labeled left versus right. I peeled it off so you don't see it through the front side. As you can see, the powder coating is pretty thick in some cases, so like this bolt, it doesn't just slide right in. I kind of gotta screw it in. It isn't a big deal because it still gets in there. And it comes with washers and these super thick spacers. Now, within their video, it wasn't really clear as to if it goes between, you know, the mount, goes between the bolt and the mount as opposed to the mount versus the block. But based off looking at it, I'll show you here real quick. It doesn't really make sense for it to go between here, because this guy is just so big. Like from the back side, it's bigger than the mount itself. Now, obviously this will be subject to change depending on how it goes when I go to mount it on the car. So TBD, I'll let you guys know on that one. But as of now, the way I'm doing it is putting the washer through, and then the thick washer on the back side. So let's get this guy mounted. So I start by hand threading them in, just so I don't cross thread the motor mount holes in my block, which obviously would be way worse. So it's worth taking the extra time. Just make sure you do it correctly. And then again, you want the offset to be towards the rear to give you more clearance to the oil pan. There's also no torque specs, so that's fantastic also. But obviously, knowing the purpose of these, you don't want to skimp out and go too light, but you don't want to go so tight that you're ripping the threads out. So I just used a decent sized ratchet, not the biggest. Snug them up. That's it. So I'll give you a quick walk around. So there's the driver's side, offset towards the back, again to give you clearance to the oil pan. And then the other side, same thing. Because the other thing too is if this was over here, obviously that would be the engine and the subframe being pretty much over the drain plug, which would be difficult. So the other thing too is that's why you want to get kind of a low or a very compact starter. Because if you had a really big one, it might give you clearance issues. And I haven't tightened my my knock sensors down all the way yet, just because I'm not sure on the angle that would be best once I get my wiring harness. So that's TBD. But yeah, I mean, that's essentially bolting on the Sikky engine mounts to the engine and the subframe. Now, they never confirmed that. I didn't ask them, but based off their videos, that's what I can tell. So, next time we'll be mating the engine to the transmission, test fitting it into Felix, making sure everything's good to go, so we know what we got to adjust, what we got to move, and what we got to do to get everything to fit correctly. So, thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.